Okay, so we got a lot of questions about the new KLI SR4, and we decided that we should address some of these questions that we got from our previous video, because this is a pretty new and exciting platform to hit the airsoft market. So one thing that we got asked a lot is aftermarket compatibility. Is there anything that upgrades as far as the aftermarket goes, you know, or is it going to take any of that? As of right now, unfortunately, no, but KLI did tell us that they are currently working with other aftermarket companies to basically have that aftermarket support available in the near future, specifically things like the inner barrel and the hop-up unit as well. They are trying to open up that aftermarket support. As far as the rest of the system goes, you know, like the receiver group is made out of forged aluminum. It's kind of a first, you know, for an airsoft gun to come out with that out of the box. Internally, a lot of the components are going to be made out of steel. It's a very robust and extremely rugged, durable system. We don't really imagine or picture any of these internal components breaking. But here at airsoftgi.com, we will be supplying OEM replacement parts from KLI in the event any of that thing breaks. But let's talk about the next question, which is going to be FPS. So obviously, straight out of the box, they're going to supply you with the magazine. Now, this magazine itself is going to be the outdoor spec magazine. So this is going to shoot probably close to 400 FPS out of the box. Now, when you talk about FPS, why do we talk about magazines? Well, because KLI has intended for you to adjust your FPS by the magazine. So basically, in the near future, that KLI is going to come out with the outdoor magazine, obviously, as you see here, but also they're going to come out with the CQB magazine meant for indoor play.
And this is going to be show them again.
Yeah, okay, I'll show it out right here. So it takes 2 CO2 cartridges. It's probably one of the first airsoft guns to do this for a full gas blowback airsoft gun. So other airsoft gun companies out there that offer CO2 magazines, usually it's off of just 1 CO2 cartridge. So this will help you give you even more recoil. It'll give you that a higher FPS if you want, especially with this outdoor magazine, and obviously extremely great cold weather performance, which we're going to show you in just a little bit.
They did have a G36 with 2, but this is the first AR.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
world.
it's the first AR. Yeah, but having this, for the AR platform, game changing. It's going to be fantastic in cold weather performance. But like I said, KLI will be coming out with a CQB magazine as well, so that way you could play indoors if you want to. This goes the same with countries with different FPS limits, like Japan. They're going to be coming out with the Japanese magazine that shoots under 1 joule. Same with some European countries, they only allow up to 1 joule. So KLI will be releasing Europe spec magazines as well that will fire the gun at 1 joule. So this is kind of interesting. Personally, I think it's a very nice and elegant solution, as opposed to like you jamming like a wrench inside the gun and trying to adjust FPS that way. It's all done through the magazine. I think that's a very quick and easy way to adjust the FPS on the SR4. Finally, KLI will be coming out with some, I guess, their own aftermarket parts, such as an aluminum bolt. So if you want a faster cycling time, having that lightweight bolt, aluminum bolt, is really going to help you, because obviously the bolt out of the box of the SR4 is going to be made out of steel. So aluminum versus steel, aluminum is way lighter. The only caveat is you will get less recoil because it is a lighter bolt, but it will help you have a faster cycling time, especially in semi-auto. Now, for those of you guys who want a faster full auto rate of fire, KLI will be coming out with an even stiffer buffer spring. The buffer spring on this guy already out of the box is extremely stiff, but they're going to come out with an even stiffer one, so that way you could send that bolt right back home as fast as possible, so that way your full auto rate of fire will be increased. So with all that being said, we're going to just take a couple shots here. So this is a dry magazine, so I will be dry firing this magazine. It's going to be pointed at a safe direction over here. All right, the gun is clear. And then, just to show you real quick, here's some shots in semi-auto. Yeah, the gun actually has recoil. Other gas pellet rifles out there right now, it has a little bit of kick, but this thing legit has recoil. Okay, and then now let's just try in full auto just for funsies here. Yeah, this guy is pretty freaking wild. Yeah, and keep in mind right now in the studio, the ambient temperature is about 59 degrees, so definitely less than ideal weather for, let's say, your traditional green gas blowback magazine. All right, so we are on private property, by the way, so this is a controlled environment, and obviously wearing eye protection because we're gonna be shooting this bad boy. But yeah, I'm gonna address a couple other questions that you guys had in the previous video. As you can see, this SR4 is kitted out obviously with not just accessories, but also an aftermarket handguard as well. So just so you know, the SR4 will be compatible with Airsoft AEG spec handguards. So you can put basically virtually any Airsoft handguard you want on this bad boy, accept it just fine. Now, the next question is going to be, what system is the SR4 using? Well, the best thing that we can describe it as is like the next evolution of like the Western Arms and GHK platform. It's not exactly one-to-one with either system, but it's taking the best of both worlds and implementing it into the SR4. So that's how you're gonna get that nice recoil, the nice kick, the CO2 compatibility, and obviously the performance to match. Now, KLI will also be coming out with different models with different barrel lengths as well. So that way, you know, if you guys like the shorter barrel lengths, that will be available soon too. But right now we have the carbine length, the 14.5 inch version, you know, ideal for that outdoor gameplay. Now, some of you guys might want to compare this to other systems like VFC, let's say, or Tokyo Marui. Now, unfortunately, VFC in the United States, not readily available. There may or may not be some legal issues because of how extremely realistic VFC can be. But let's say talk about Tokyo Marui. A lot of times people talk about how like aftermarket compatible Tokyo Marui is compared to other systems. Yes, that is true, but also keep in mind what the Tokyo Marui MWS was designed for. It was designed for people to upgrade, tinker around, and modify. Straight out of the box, the Tokyo Marui MWS cannot handle even things like green gas. You have to do a lot of aftermarket modification out of the box to have it shoot at the level that a lot of us Americans are used to. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and just fire a couple shots with the SR4.
55 degrees, right?
Yeah, so outside right now is going to be 55 degrees, a little bit colder than inside the studio, obviously. There is a bit of a wind chill over here. So again, less than ideal temperature compared to, like, let's say green gas blowback airsoft guns. I'll load this bad boy up. All right, it's loaded. Okay, do a couple shots here in semi-auto. Yeah, already very snappy. And one thing I need to talk about, I love the trigger on this thing. It's like as close to a mil-spec trigger that you would get in Airsoft. It has a very nice, crisp and clean single stage break, and it has nice tactile audible like reset. You could really feel it every time you reset the trigger. So right here, fire the shot, break the shot. Right there, you hear that? Yeah, there's not very many Airsoft gas blowback guns that will do that for you, by the way. But now just shooting a couple bursts in full auto. Yeah, cycled through the whole magazine and it locked back. I mean, that is pretty wild.
Yeah, for what, 55 degrees?
Yeah, 55 degrees. It's able to cycle that full magazine back and it locks back. I mean, that's pretty wild. Again, it's thanks to the dual CO2 cartridges inside this magazine.
So how many rounds do you think it will go through in such a cold temperature?
And colder temperature, I'd probably say if you're shooting at a moderate pace, you could probably get through 2 magazines and still have it locked back. Although I would say in colder environments, even with something like CO2 cartridges, I would say probably even with the moderate firing pace, towards the end of the second magazine, you might experience a little bit of cool down. But from my experience, just running this guy, the bolt lock back happens almost every single time.
So when we got this sample during summertime, how many rounds were you going through?
During the summer, I think I was able to get about like 2.5 mags. You know, with
full auto?
moderate, no, full auto. I mean, man, like, yeah, full auto with gas blowback is always very tricky. It's just not as consistent. But I'd say,
but you can definitely go through 1.5.
You can at least for sure. You know, you could full auto this guy, mag dump it in full auto, and this guy should lock back every time.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Compared to what, NWS or
MWS? Yeah. Again, MWS. It's hard to judge.
And you're an NWS believer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Especially when it comes to, you know, having the aftermarket support available and having it perform how you want it to. I'd say when it just comes to just pure performance, I would say MWS is great. If you want something realistic and reliable, I would say I am now a believer in the SR4.
especially for the winter time, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you could play with this guy all year round. And yeah, I mean, technically, you could probably even take this guy into like snowy, airsoft fields. And obviously, you're gonna have to regulate how fast you're firing. But if you're careful with it, you could run this all day.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Yep.